Hey friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I want to give you updates of what is happening here at production. It is just a happening, busy place. Of course, here we are right before Christmas and the work continues here at Creekside Nursery. When the retail season is over, then that is where the production and all the big projects just happen and where everything, all the fun stuff takes place. There's a little bit of pressure off of us, but then there's a whole nother kind of pressure, right? We got to get everything ready before the growing season starts. Of course, if you're new to Creekside Nursery, Gardening with Creekside, we are Creekside Nursery in Dallas, North Carolina. We are a Zone 7B right outside of Charlotte. We are what you call a grower retailer. So that means we grow our own plants and then we sell them at our retail nursery. We are retail only. We don't have any wholesale accounts simply because at this point we don't need to. We are just strictly retail. So for one example I can show you, you can see behind us lots of shrubs are growing out there onto the field. Most of those, if not all of them, just about everything out there are Proven Winners shrubs. We are a Proven Winners certified garden center, destination garden center, lots and lots of Proven Winners shrubs, perennials, and annuals. So what we're doing right now is the fellas, I was helping them this morning. We were getting the walls, framing the walls for the production annex. So behind me, you will see that we have three structures up here. The one on the very end is our dry storage. Then we have two production greenhouses up there. Jackson has, it's a full family affair around here, y'all. Jackson's on the tractor, not exactly sure what he is doing, but he is off on some adventure on an errand to get something done. But here with these three structures, you can see right between those two, there is a building there. That is the production annex. That is what we are building. It will be a multi-functional building as far as we will pot up plants in there. It's going to be climate controlled. And then when we start shipping in the next season, then that is where all of that will happen. So just going to show you all some of the fun things that are happening up here. Megan's leaving on Johnny. I mean, I'm telling you what, y'all, it is like, you got to learn how to multitask around here for sure. Yeah, around here, you really got to be able to roll with the punches and just go with it. You got to have a lot of things happening in your brain and be able to multitask really well. I'm going to bring you in here into production one because this is where our Emily is, and she is having a grand old time coming in here, and she is starting to assemble trays and pots for all of our annuals. She just got finished on Friday with her last college exams. She is a senior in high school, but she has dual enrolled in one of our local colleges. So she wrapped up her exams last week. So she is having the most fun with this mindless activity of filling trays. She doesn't have to think. She's got the radio going. She's just having a grand old time in here. So what we're doing, or what she's doing, is taking the trays, right? So we have all the trays right here, and then the 4-inch was the grande pot, basically a 4.25 called a grande pot, and she is assembling them. That way, once we begin the production of filling the pots, hopefully with that potting machine that is going to be coming our way in the next couple of weeks, you have to have this already done. So you have to have the pots in the trays. Doing this right now saves us so much time when the plants are here and you're filling up the containers with potting soil, and then you can just pop those little babies in there. Saves a ton of time. Our kids, we have 3 kiddos. They're now 18, 15, and 12. This has always been their job. Yes, Emily? Yes, very much so. This has always been their job, is to fill up these trays with containers, and unfortunately for them, it is always like when they start, it is right before Christmas that they have to do this. So but now as she gets older, she appreciates maybe doing this a little bit more than.
It's better than painting.
Yes. So she did, you can look at her coat, and because she was responsible for one of the girls for staining the tables in the greenhouse. And so, yeah, that has now turned into her work coat, but she is doing a fantastic job. Now, of course, this is just the very beginning of of the annuals, not even close to doing all the trays that we need. We still have tons of them next door that as the season goes on, this will continue, but this is just the very beginning, so this will get us a nice start to the whole process of getting those babies into their pots. And Brenna got Emily throws her a pot that's broken, and so she is very happy about that. Now, moving on down into the production annex. So each of these houses will be connected to the production annex. So the fellows are working on framing. So let me show you exactly what they are doing back there. They have already gotten the back wall completely done. So this back wall, we're gonna go underneath. There we go. So you can see that this back wall is done. In this bay right here, there is going to be a door. So that's why they kind of skipped that one for now, because that requires a little extra. But this whole back wall has now been completely framed. We're gonna have 3 windows in here. So you can see we're gonna have some nice big windows so we can look out, get some sunlight in there, and then all the way down. So Jerry and Josh are over there having a meeting of the minds, trying to figure some things out, because each of these greenhouses, like I said, is going to be connected to the production annex. So basically we're going to have like a little hallway. So there will be a wall right here, and then above us there will be a roof. So that way you can easily go from the greenhouse into the annex and be underneath cover and be climate controlled. And so that way you don't have to worry about getting wet and all of that kind of stuff, because that's really nice. Most of our potting up at the annuals takes place starts mid-January and will go through about mid-March or so. And of course for us, like I guess it is for most people, that's our worst weather. So that's going to be our coldest time of the year, wet, snowy, icy. That things happen, that's when it's going to happen. Like today, our low was 23. So if we were potting up plants, this climate controlled building would be really nice to be in. So what they're going to do now is Roman and Chase are measuring, and Roman is getting those bottom seal plates down. That way, because of the concrete, you need something to attach to, so they are measuring and getting that in. You can see over here where it's already done. So it's a double plate on this side. I assume they'll be the same on the other side. And then they are coming in and putting these studs 16 inches on center. Now, we've talked about this before, and I'll go over it again, but things here at Creekside are one of a kind and unique. If you've done any kind of framing before, for houses or construction, right? A lot of times you will see the folks build the walls on the floor and then raise them up and put them in, because it's a lot easier to assemble them on the floor and then just raise them up. Well, this is, like Jerry said, this is essentially a pole barn, and everything is not perfectly square. And then with the concrete, because of the grade of the concrete being sloped a little bit, so they're having to come in, and as they do it, each board could be a different height. So that way they're taking the time to make sure that everybody's exactly 16 inches on center. The windows, of course, are framed out correctly. Everything is framed out really nicely, and that way they can square it up. But each of these boards that you see is a custom measure and a custom cut. So it's rare that any two boards are the exact same length. Of course, some of them are, but for the vast majority, there is a difference in height. So that is what they're having to do. Just like Chase is go ahead and getting that cut and getting those seal plates in. That is that is the deal, and that is what's happening right now here up at the annex. Earlier today, I was up here helping them move some lumber, getting it all ready. It just feels good to be able to come up here and, like Emily, do some mindless work and just have fun getting projects done for sure. So let's move on, and I will show you what else fun things are going on up here at production. Jerry and Jackson did go pick up the Kubota from getting service today, so it is nice to have our other machine back in the family. You may have heard us talk about how we had to have the Kubota service because oh, bless it! It needed to go into the shop and get a fine tune overall. We have had this Kubota for 8 years, I believe, and this was our first machine that we have just used to pieces. I mean, it's got thousands of miles on it, and it's just been here around the property. So what happened was, we kept having problems with the muffler, and it turns out it was a design flaw on the Kubota part, so they replaced that for us for free. So here is the muffler here, and it kept basically shearing off. So they had to completely redesign it. They mounted it differently. I don't know if you can see in there how they had to mount it differently. Then it got what Jerry called the Carolina squat right here because this shock broke, and so they had, you can basically tell what is new because it's nice and clean. So they replaced that shock, and then down here, let's see if I can find it for you, the knuckles. Don't really know what a knuckle is, but it's down here again, that nice clean black piece. So they replaced those, got those all nice and fixed. So now she runs just as smooth as ever. Did a complete overhaul as far as a checkup, so everything has been serviced. All the maintenance part of it has been done, so it is good to go now and should last us for another 8 years or more. So super excited about that. It's so nice to have this machine back because this is the one that we use mostly in production. Like, this is the workhorse of the nursery. We haul plants in it. I mean, just you name it, and this Kubota does it for sure. Now what we're going to do is we're going to head out here and talk to Jerry, because Jerry is doing a landscaping job tomorrow. So he is starting to gather his plants that he needs for this job. So it'd be fun to talk with him and talk about what plants are going to be used for this job. He is using a Johnny here because Johnny has a full tank of gas where the Polaris over there, bless its heart, is running on fumes. I don't know about y'all, because we do have the vast majority of our equipment around here runs on diesel. So we have diesel, like bulk diesel tanks, so we can fill all that up. These are the two machines though that run on gas. So we just have to use 5-gallon gas cans and get those filled up. So I think Jackson and Logan might be going on a run today to go get some more gas. But it's like, man, you just can't, when you have this kind of machinery, you think, oh, well, yeah, we can do it. But then you always, when you need it, you run out of the gas. So Jerry is starting to pull plants here. So these are the ones that he has pulled so far. He's got some great butterfly bushes. These look like pugsters to me. Pugster blue. So Pugster blue is really one of our top performer, really favorite pugster of the series. Pugsters are great because they are a 2x2 nice dwarf butterfly bush. They're called Pugster blue, but really they're a nice deep purple. Fantastic pollinator plant, and yeah, love them. And then we have the Firelight Tidbit, one of our favorite new hydrangea introductions from Proven Winners. Tidbit is really fun because it is really nice and petite. Firelight, of course, is that whole Firelight series is wonderful. Panicle hydrangeas do really well here in the South. Love the full sun. They bloom on new growth. But Firelight is big, right? It can be, 6 to 8 feet tall and wide or bigger. Firelight Tidbit is a nice little tiny petite one, and it only, I want to say, is like a 2x2 on this one. And so it's sun to part shade, zones 3 to 8, 2 to 3 tall, 3 wide. So it's off just a little bit on that, but just a really nice hardy hydrangea. Reliably will turn a nice lovely pink for us. Sometimes on the panicles we have a really hard time them turning pink. The Firelights, in my experience, have turned pink more reliably than any other of the panicles. So the Firelights and the Firelight Tidbits will give you that really sweet creamy white to a pink color. And then he has got some hibiscus.
Spinderella.
Spinderella. So Spinderella was new a couple of years ago, but this is another fantastic addition to the Summerific series of perennial hibiscus. And obviously she's going to go with the kind of the pink and the white theme here.
Yeah, I mean he had this big tree in the landscape, so there was a lot of, one of the things that we're going to do is remove all the wood chips from there, because you got to have some soil there for the roots to grow into. So we're going to remove that. It's just a kind of an oblong, simple shaped bed. So I'm going to do this guy in the center of the bed, and then flanked around with the Firelight Tidbits, the Puckster Blues with color, and then there will be these gaps. So in the gaps, we're going to fill with perennials.
Oh, fantastic. What kind of perennials? Do you have a list of those?
Yeah, I do. I'll do Daisy May, some dianthus. I think use some of the, we'll have to go look at them.
Okay.
Grab them a second.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name.
Sure. So like with your, show them, okay, so you can see here on the Summerific, the Spinderella, the tall stalks right here is what the growth was this year. The stalks down there at the bottom was last year's. So
February, we'll just say in February, just go ahead and cut all this back to that height. So that way they'll just all start to kind of come out from the bottom. So they'll have to look at sticks for right now, but that's just to kind of prevent the water from getting into the crown.
Yep. So with the because the Summerific hibiscus is technically a perennial, not a shrub, and so it will die completely back, and then all the new growth comes from the rootstock. It doesn't come from these old years stalks. So at the appropriate time, you can go ahead and cut them, and then they flush out. But you can see, you know, last year there were 2 stalks, the little short ones, right? So there was only 2 stalks, and then this year there were 5. So then this year there'll be even more stalks. So as the plant matures and grows, then you've got lots and lots of good growth. You're gonna go down there and look at perennials?
Yeah, let's go do that.
Let's go do that. So here, obviously we're at production, right? And so we have everybody out here, and we keep the perennials off to their own side down here. So this whole block to the furthest to the road is all perennials. It just makes it a little easier to come in and separate things and get them nice and organized. So that is what we're doing. All right, so Jerry is pulling the perennials. Basically, he's going to use 3 different perennials. He's going to use, this is the Fruit Punch series of dianthus, which you can see is what we call like a carnation style bloom on it. Yes, it is December, and yes, this thing is trying to bloom, and it's got buds on it, so there you go. Really beautiful, kind of almost like a bluish foliage to it. Just really, really nice. But this is the Fruit Punch series, and this is classic coral. Let me get you a tag here so that you can see. Really nice, kind of a bright, I mean, coral color is the best way to describe it. Will be a nice spring bloomer. They are nice and short, only 8 to 10 inches tall, and, you know, of course, a fantastic fragrant double coral pink blossoms. And they are hardy in zones 4 to 9. So that will be really nice. So he's grabbed a bunch of those, and then he's going to pair it with those Daisy May Shasta daisies, which is a classic white bloom on it. So you can see here is the tag for Daisy May. Really love this plant. It is so easy and versatile, prolific bloomer, full sun, hardy in zones 5 to 9, fantastic. And then next door, really fun, is the Midnight Masquerade, which is a penstemon. I've got a tag in here somewhere. There we go. Midnight Masquerade. Nice, big, huge, fat leaves on them. Really pretty, deep purple, almost like a blackish color to them. So when you pair all those different colors of the foliage of the perennials with each other, it's going to be really nice. And of course, the Midnight Masquerade will do tall blooms that are nice and purple. Full sun, 3 feet tall, will be nice and behind that dianthus, which is nice and short. This is hardy in zones 3 to 8. So using the space that is a full sun garden and mixing it with some really nice shrubs and some perennials, it will extend that bloom time. You'll have your dianthus that blooms first in the spring, Midnight Masquerade, this transition of color and texture and blooms. This will be a nice big pollinator attractor between both the dianthus, the penstemon, and the butterfly bushes. Lots of pollinators will be coming to this garden. Will be really, really pretty. Of course, we can plant here in North Carolina, even though it is right here at Christmas time. We are having a cold snap, but it'll warm right back up and our ground never really freezes, so that works for us. But yeah, lots of things that you can see are happening up here at production today. Busy, busy bees.
Yeah, I gotta get some, I think I'm gonna use that.
Come here in the camera. They want to see your pretty face.
Planting mix. I think, because since we're pulling out that wood, I was gonna just do some bag soil to kind of fill in.
I would.
Okay, and then we're gonna mulch it.
And then we're gonna mulch it.
Yep.
So yeah, so he had a tree removed. Is that what you're saying?
A tree removed.
And then they had the stump was ground, and that's
Yeah.
why it's all mulchy.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes more sense. So there's a lot of, I mean, mulch would be the best way to describe it.
It's just wood, a lot of wood chips.
Wood chips.
And so wood chips decaying takes away from, even if there was dirt in there, which is going to be very little, it would take away the nutrients from the plant, so the plant's going to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to grow. But I mean, over the years, that wood would be really good mulch or really good organic matter.
Right. But just all of it in one pile.
Yeah.
You don't want to plant a brand new garden in that.
Yeah, it was green just not too long ago.
Right.
It's had all summer to sit, but we're still going to take it out.
Yeah, exactly. And then add some soil in there so that way those roots can get established. Nice ecosystem for the plants to grow.
Right.
Be nice and happy.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do.
Oh, well, that sounds like a good plan. That will be tomorrow. He's just getting prepped for today. But we'll keep you updated on all the other projects that are happening here as the fellows move on with the annex and those walls. Of course, we will keep you updated. But as always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fantastic day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.